Hello and welcome to News Central Television with me, Blessings Mosugu. Now going straight to the stories, coming down to the south, where the family of the trending ritualist from Eziagu in Enugu State, Onyeka Obu, known as Levi Obieze, has condemned the strong terms of the alleged atrocious act the latter is being accused of. Now also the father of the one who would have been his last victim, Ukamaka, before his arrest, Peter Okoronkwo, and wife, have shared how the situation jolted them when it happened. Now, the community leadership on its part has vowed to banish Obu from their community for life. They all attest that community effort played a key role in the rescue of Ukamaka and discovery of the tomb. Meanwhile, Enugu State government says it has moved 13-year-old Ukamaka Okonkwo, the rescued kidnapped victim, from Eziagu to a state-owned rehabilitation facility. The Commissioner for Children, Gender Affairs and Social Development, Ngozi Eni, in a statement said that the action was at the instance of the state governor, Peter Mba. Now, the Commissioner said the government understood the girl must have experienced trauma the few hours she spent in captivity, and decided to step in by providing a therapy for her. The statement further disclosed that the state government has awarded her scholarship to the university level. News Central's Chinwe Ugele confirms that Ukamaka has already been moved from her village by the government. We'll have Chinwe's input in a minute, but we'll turn our attention to another developing story. Another tragedy in Niger State where the death toll from the catastrophic flood continues to climb. Authorities now confirm over 153 lives lost and thousands displaced in Mokwa local government area of the state. Now, according to state authorities, the disaster struck late on Wednesday night, submerging homes and forcing over 3,000 residents to flee. Deputy Governor Yakubu Garba confirmed the scale of the devastation, describing the event as one of the deadliest in the state's recent history. So far, at least 44 victims were laid to rest on Friday, following the burial of 31 others recovered earlier. In a statement released on Saturday, the Niger State Emergency Management Agency confirmed the rising casualty figure and added that 3 communities were affected.
This place is still smelling, which we believe that there are still corpses probably under the bridge. Even at night yesterday, about 3 were discovered and removed for proper burial. All this place was buildings. It was buildings, and these buildings have been here for years. And suddenly, this rain that just started, this year rain that started, will come with heavy flood to take away all the houses in this place, and most lives were lost.
In my own in-laws house, they lost 10. Friends. The one I know lost 5, lost 3, lost entire family. Only he remained, only her remained. Only the child remain. So how can you just tell me 100 or 150 lost, which is not true. That statistic is not right. That's why there's a railway. The depth of the railway is about 30 meters. That is the depth of the railway, which is one that formed the dike. Now hold the water for like 2 to 3 hours. Until where the dike, the railway cannot be able to withstand the water in a blast. That was the cause of this thing.
Now we join our correspondent Joshua Imirai, who has been monitoring the developments in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. Hello, Joshua. What updates do you have for us about this development?
Well, good afternoon. I am live at Angwa Ausawa, the major community by the Mokwa local government of Niger State. As you can see behind me, is a bulldozer trying to decongest the culverts where they found some bodies earlier of the victims that suffered that were actually swept by the flood water into the culvert. So recovery and rescue efforts are still ongoing as the authorities are trying to salvage as more bodies they can pick up from the rubble, and the crane there actually is trying to dig into the culvert to see if there's any property, any body that is lying behind there. So earlier on, the wife of the governor was here. She paid a visit to this particular scene where she commiserated with some of the victims of this flooding, and well, that is all we have now, as this place is an active scavengers scene as they are trying to pick up metal from under the rubble to gather as much as they can gather from their own benefit. And one thing I will tell you for sure is that the citizens here, they are affected by the flooding and they have nowhere to run to. Now, the camp that was set up out of the benevolence of a few persons, that camp is not functional, as nothing is happening there. There is no pipe-borne water for these people. Normally, when situations like this happen, what you see is humanitarian efforts swooping in to help them cushion the effect of the flooding. But unfortunately for residents of Mokwa, the case is not the same. No food. They are being given raw food material in nylon bag. The question as to how that would actually salvage the entire situation is still underplaying, as they are particularly challenged by this incident.
Joshua, it's interesting that you will talk about the IDP camps, because I was going to ask about the displaced persons and where they are being camped. But now that you have mentioned that the facilities are dilapidated, what is the government doing about it, or what are they saying that they will do about it? Are they just going to look on while displaced persons struggle to find shelter?
Yes, that is one question that has been lingering on for now. Well, the particular building they reserved for emergency response and emergency shelter for these persons is actually a primary school within this area. And when I got there this morning, as early as 6, I found nothing more than 10 persons at that particular place, and they told me that that is the camp that was set aside for this case. Well, I took a stroll around that particular premises. I saw that there was no pipe-borne water. There was no place for them to take their bath. There was no conducive environment for them to lay their heads. Neither was there any preparations for them to sleep. So unfortunately, that place is not serving the interests of these people, as they are back into this community from the earlier hours of today. They were camped here. They stood here waiting for any intervention that would come to them, and they've been here. If you should take a look at my right hand side, you will see that some of them, they are scattered around, sitting in groups, in clusters, family members all together with them. This has been the case here in Mokwa. There is no help in sight. The only help they could get is from their friends, well-wishers and neighbors who have taken their case up to help them, who can give them a clothing or two, or who can give them spaces to sleep as well as food to eat. So the humanitarian efforts here is personal. Is on a person-to-person basis, as people here, they are trying to render as much help they can render to each other. Well, it is noteworthy that the emergency authorities actually provided relief material, but the question is, how is this relief material distributed amongst citizens here? We understand that several bags of rice and cereals as well as ingredients was distributed, but unfortunately, if you should see the particular thing they are handing over to these people, they are just mere bags, mere nylon handed to them. Now, if you should hand that particular nylon to them, how would they cook this thing? So what is expected is that cooked meals should be brought to these people. Conducive environment should be created. Medical aid should be rendered to these people, but unfortunately, we are not seeing that here in Mokwa local government of Niger State.
All right, thank you, Joshua Marai. It's quite a disheartening situation there in Mokwa local government of Niger State, and we're hoping that the government does something. Unfortunately, some have lost their lives and they're still digging through the rubble to find the remains. But for those who are displaced, we're hoping that they find a place especially for shelter and food. Thank you so much, Joshua, for the good work you're doing there, and please stay safe. Now let's go back down south, where we mentioned earlier that the family of the trending ritualist from Eziagu in Enugu State, Onyeka Obu, known as Levi Obieze, has condemned in strong terms the alleged atrocious act the latter is being accused of. Now, the father of the one who would have been his last victim, Ukamaka, before his arrest, Peter Okoronkwo, and wife, have shared how the situation jolted them when it happened. The community leadership, on its part, has vowed to banish Obu from their community for life. They all attest that community effort played a key role in the rescue of Ukamaka and discovery of the tomb.
Okwambo rabon na hanina. Iho me baro.
Oba ka do mata. Ka yo obojo bu ya na ma bana. Nda ba ya da po da gwa. Mana no ai we no dibe ba obo. No na agan. No na na agan na he mi hojo. O me nya hojo won me. Oba do mo manya ko machine wo ya.
Ke we ship to two machine. We ship to machine. The next no me zero bia kwa machine baskulaka. Buru nwam buya na machine shagi gasike o gasike manariziam amazim yengem yenge ekubu na Chineke anagoro otuto na ekpere niile na ekpe na Chineke azagonye na ihe debe nna m azakwugonye egwu madam no akamba
and it's forever.
So we have News Central's correspondent Chinwe Ogele, who has been following this story, and she joins us now from Enugu State. Chinwe, thank you for joining us. This is a very surprising and horrible development. What more can you tell us about this?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. So today it's been quite a busy morning here at Isiago in Omumba community, Zago local government area. The community of Onyeka Obu to date to disown him. They have excommunicated him from amongst them. They say he is no more one of them. And they just performed a very symbolic act here at the Umod and Azungele, just to say that they are sweeping it. Women are here are carrying dates that he is no more part of their community because of the atrocities that he was said to have committed. So for them, such acts are known for their people, and they are saying that they are not going to condone that. They do not want to associate with him. I had here with me a Reverend Father who is also an associate professor in University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Reverend Father Onwama, thanks for staying with us. So can you tell me what your people have just done today, what it symbolizes?
Symbolizes a severance and ostracization. That's Onyeka, who was before now our brother, but from hence is no more our brother.
Some people forgiveness for his sins if he atones for them. Why did you join forces with your people to say enough is enough?
Enough is enough because he did what we are not known for. He spilled human blood. And in this land we stand, human blood is sacred. It is very sacrosanct. Any moment one plays with human blood to the point of taking a life that he did not create. It is the height of heinous crime. And Christianity, yes, but does not stop us from saying that our brother who has done satanic thing should be handed over to the government. We are not killing him. We are only saying that he is no more part of us. Somebody who can take a life could not be in our village. We drink with one cup, with several cups. One cup can serve 3 people. Our traditional drink is. So this man who has been seen and known to have the capacity to take human life that he didn't create, who should not be allowed to drink with us, because we drink like brothers, we eat like brothers from the same bowl. That's why we are taking him out, so that when we drink like our forefathers did, without any fear or harm.
Thank you very much. Okay, I also have here with me the President General of the community, Samuel Ume. Okay, sir, are you in support of the banishment of Ubu from your community?
Yes, part of it. I stand based on what our Reverend Father said.
Okay, so how will that help, shape the behavior of the young people in your community?
I'm still able. I'm short of words because ever since this thing has been going on, I'm tired. I don't know what to say again. I just stand based on what Reverend Father Onwam said.
Okay, so there you have it from the people. It is a unanimous decision that Onyeka Obu be ostracized from his people and not to reckon with him anymore. Over to you, blessings.
All right, thank you so much, Chinwe Ogele. I would have loved to find out if the security forces are being involved in this or he was just being banished, but I guess that we'll take that up subsequently. Thank you once again, Chinwe Ogele, for bringing us more updates on that story. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we've got more stories on the news. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us on the news. Now to more stories. Communities around the Army detention facility in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, have demanded the immediate relocation of the barracks out of the community. Now, the facility known as Giwa Barracks is located in the Jere local government area of Borno State. Residents of the host communities decried the risk level they have been exposed to living near the detention facility. Now, according to the chairman of Galtimari Consultative Forum, Zana Buguma, Giwa Barracks has been a target for Boko Haram terrorists who have continually attacked the facility in an attempt to free their members. Now, he said the call was driven by the need to protect lives, reduce civilian exposure to insurgent attacks, and allow the military to operate in a more controlled and a more secure environment. And this call came after an explosion that rocked the army armory at Giwa Barracks about a month ago. And now we have Umoru Kirawa, News Central's correspondent, who will be giving us more update on that. Umoru Kirawa, good afternoon. If you can hear me, what's the update you have on the development?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that even before the call by the community, even before the unfortunate disaster that befell the community, that's talking about the explosion that happened at the Giwa Barracks, the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence, who also happens to be the member representing Jere at the Federal Constituency of Borno State, Satomi Ahmed, has made passionate appeal at the floor of the House of Representatives with regard to the issue of relocating the Giwa Barracks to the outskirts of Maiduguri or any other preferred location by the military intelligence and, of course, the federal government. Unfortunately, the call has not been followed with an action, which unfortunately led to the disaster that destroyed the armory of the military in the community. And now we are having the community members raising alarm with regard to the government should take necessary actions to relocate this barrack, because it's a threat to their safety, it's a threat to their lives. Although the barrack usually was in the outskirts of Maiduguri, But because of development, the area turned to be a residential area where so many people, including lecturers from the University of Maiduguri and others alike, have turned the place to be a residential area, and the barrack is amidst houses, which now the community are saying that the government really need to take action to ensure the safety of citizens and, of course, the safety of even the armory, so that such kind of disasters will not happen again, and the Nigerian government losing millions of naira and equipment that could have been used to tackle the insurgents that are causing serious havoc to communities.
Umaru, how dire would you say that this situation is for the people in that community, because they have decried the level of the lack of safety that they have experienced for a while, and then seeing that there was another explosion, how are they taking it currently?
What? Can you come again?
Did you hear that?
I've not heard what you said.
Okay, so basically I'm just trying to find out how the people in the community are taking this, seeing as they have been decrying the lack of safety for a long time, and then there was another explosion. What is going on through their minds right now? What's their reaction to all of this?
It's quite unfortunate. I cannot confirm whether people are leaving the community, but however, community members coming together to plead with the government. It's a serious concern. Although no lives was lost during the last explosion that led to a very serious chaos in Maiduguri and its environs, with regard to whether it's an attack or whether it's the armory that was exploding. It's a serious threat to lives and properties, which the communities now think that the government really need to address the situation by relocating the army barracks, so that the army barracks can be taken to the outskirts of the state, and it will further maybe enhance the level of development, and maybe people will start building more houses in the outskirts because of the level of maybe security and the presence of the military, and of course the strategic importance of the armory to the communities within Maiduguri and Fere and other communities in the environs.
All right, Morikara, thank you so much for giving us the update on that. Now to more stories. Suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is expected in court on Tuesday following a summons over criminal defamation charges. Her lead counsel, West Idausa San, confirmed her appearance, saying that the senator remains committed to obeying court directives. The federal government accuses Akpoti-Uduaghan of making defamatory claims during a TV appearance and a private call targeting Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi Governor Yahaya Bello. The charges filed on the 16th of May allege that she spoke of a plot to assassinate her and linked Akpabio to organ harvesting. It also says the legal team is prepared for any court proceedings but remains unsure if the government intends to arraign her on Tuesday. The key witnesses in the case include some of the members as well. Now, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has issued a strong warning to property owners in Abuja, urging them to pay their levies or risk losing their properties. Speaking during a media parley, Wike emphasized that the FCT administration will no longer tolerate tax evasion, stressing that revenue from property taxes is vital for infrastructure and public services. He made it clear that the government has the authority to reclaim properties from defaulters if necessary. Wike called on residents and estate owners to comply promptly, saying that enforcement measures will be strictly implemented in the coming weeks.
For 2 years, for example, your tenancy will expire tomorrow. You are coming to tell the landlord, because you not remind you, it's the duty of the landlord now to not remind you. You see, now you are shifting it to the landlord, but that's not the case here. You have a CFO, and the CFO says you will be paying annually for you to continue to keep that property. Now I already said 100,000, 200,000 as the case may be. And you are not saying again, some people may not have the financial reason to keep to it. We are talking about central business area. We are talking about Maitama. We are talking about Wuse 1, Wuse 2. We are talking about Asokoro. How many poor people live here? Tell me, how many poor people live here? Most of them lease their own property overseas. But they remember that they must pay their taxes. If they don't pay their taxes, government will take over the property. Here in Nigeria, oh no, nothing will happen. Is this attitude of nothing will happen? Is this attitude of religion and ethnicity that has killed us?
Still on the media parley conversation, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has tasked residents of the capital to protect infrastructure placed in their communities by the federal government. Now, Wike, while inspecting several road projects in Kwali and Bwari area councils, urged citizens to partner with the police so as to effectively tackle insecurity within Abuja. Also, the former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Chibudom Nwuche, commended the minister for efforts being put in place to ensure there's adequate infrastructure around the capital.
Abuja is becoming something else, It's a world-class city, and the developments are such that it covers both the urban and rural areas. Like at the Valley, we saw a lot of places for farmlands with waters and co. So I think Abuja has come back to life. We should commend the minister for putting his heart to the job and commend the president for giving all the support that he requires for this wonderful feat achieved so far. If we had been at this pace from 1999, Abuja would have long ago been much more than where it is today. I've seen many ministers come and go, but this is the one that really has made a great impact on the nation's capital.
It will be wrong, and we'll come back here tomorrow. You hear that one of the poles have been vandalized, the wires have been taken away. If we own this property, this is our community, it will not happen. So our prayer is that for them to enjoy it, for government to think that yes, they deserve it, they should also play their own role by making sure they protect this infrastructure.
Now, reactions have trailed the issuance of a new executive order to lower project costs, attract more investors, and enhance revenues from operations in the oil sector by President Bola Tinubu. The document, which was made public by the Office of a Special Advisor to the President on Energy, Oluverehen, said the move is to further strengthen Nigeria's global competitiveness and attract greater investment into the sector. Now, the Upstream Petroleum Operations Cost Efficiency Incentives Order 2025 introduces a new performance-driven framework that links tax incentives to verifiable cost savings, benchmarks operations by terrain, and protects public revenues while rewarding operational efficiency. President Tinubu has directed the Special Advisor on Energy to coordinate interagency efforts to ensure alignment and implementation across all relevant institutions. You're still live with us on the news. We'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, in Nigeria's current economic climate, more families are rethinking how many children they can afford to raise. Now, with inflation biting and the cost of living soaring, family planning is becoming not just a health option, but an economic necessity. News Central's Sewese Anyo reports.
Of over 237 million people and growing by nearly 5 million each year, Nigeria is now the sixth most populous country in the world. And in today's harsh economy, more couples are choosing to limit or delay childbearing.
Many families are coming up with coping strategies for them to cope with the prevailing economic situations. And part of the options that some of the families, particularly the young families, have opted for is that of, family planning. In other words, either spacing the number of, spacing the way they give birth, and putting a cap on the number of children they would have. Because the cost of parenting is becoming very, very prohibitive.
This our country get money, but our leaders then they chop them alone. Since we are our senior man, our daddy enter seat, hungry just they catch us. Even Gary we person been they see drink before time of Buhari, person they see Gary drink again. You go hustle like this, you go hold 10,000, you don't know where in they go. I don't go lie for you. My father gets 3. So me I go add 2, that is 5. I don't care how it tough reach.
According to the World Health Organization, family planning empowers individuals to decide the number and spacing of their children through the use of contraceptives. But experts say Nigeria's rising cost of living is making that choice a necessity, not just a right.
The issue of family planning is not a national policy. Unlike what you used to have in a country like China, for instance, where it is a national policy that you not have more than X number of children. In this instance, this is just a purely advocacy issue. It's a voluntary issue, but the advantage is that, the less number of children we have, the more we have a population that is manageable.
Even me, if I don't understand how this Nigeria can be again, because since I was born, I see many presidents, many governors in my state, how they do their own things, but this one don't tire me, I tell you. To get what you need now is hard for you. It's hard for you to get what you need.
To expand access to family planning, the Lagos state government is training local medicine vendors to offer safe contraceptives in underserved communities.
Our major objective is to improve quality to life. We feel that without looking at the bottom of the pyramid and at the same time looking at underserved communities, we're not doing justice to the provision and accessibility of healthcare service.
As times change, so do choices. In a time of rising costs and shrinking incomes, many Nigerian families are choosing to plan not just for fewer children, but for a future they can afford. In Lagos, for News Central, Sewisi Anyo.
Now to health matters. The Kaduna State government has begun the administration of azithromycin vaccine to over 2 million children in the state to combat malaria. The effort is expected to form part of the state government's broader strategy to combat malaria and reduce cases of infant mortality. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
Malaria has continued to pose as a nightmare for nursing mothers and infants, leading to high maternal and child mortality. This has become a cause of concern as government battles to reduce the disease that affects residents in rural and urban communities alike. In Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria, citizens are heaving a sigh of relief as the state has rolled out plans to vaccinate over 2 million children using the azithromycin vaccine.
Pneumonia, diarrhea, and sepsis continue to steal away thousands of young lives annually. These killer diseases rob families of joy, communities of hope, and our state of its brightest future.
We are happy because this is another tool in the arsenal of all the tools that have already been implemented to ensure that no child is left behind and every child in Nigeria, in Kaduna State, survives and they don't die of common childhood illnesses before they are 5 years.
Backed by the wife of the governor, Hafsat Sani, the deputy governor of the state led the administration of the vaccine to children to promote its efficacy and effectiveness. Some residents living outside the state capital gave their assessment of the effectiveness of the vaccine.
Polio ya samu turjiya ne don suna ganin kamar wani abu ne wanda yake bature yake musu dabara na wajen ka'ide haihuwa ko wani abu makamancin haka nan. Amma mafi akasarin wannan ba gidan da ba gudawa baya fadawa da zazzabin cizon sauro da sauran makamantansu, saboda haka mutane na murna da waɗannan magunguna.
Insha Allah in aka zo zan ba da yaro na domin a mishi wannan a bashi wannan magani.
Shi wannan maganin
yana kariya ne daga cutar amai da gudawa, malaria, yana ba da kariya daga cutar pneumonia.
Idan ya kai 79 mon ya zama shekara 1 year kenan za mu juyo za mu ce 8 mil za mu bashi wannan AZM za mu bashi 8 mil.
With the vaccine now being administered in the country, many are calling on state governors, especially in the northern region of the country, to help combat malaria and reduce Nigeria's alarming infant mortality rate. In Kaduna for New Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
Now coming up on the news, new treatment center for Mpox response opens in Sierra Leone. We'll tell you more about this after the break. Join us again. Thanks for staying with us. Now, a newly launched treatment center in Freetown, Sierra Leone is now providing care for patients suffering from mild, moderate cases of Mpox. The facility, opened in response to rising infections, is staffed by a dedicated team of doctors and nurses working around the clock. Health authorities say the center is part of a broader national response aimed at containing the virus and preventing severe complications. Officials are urging early reporting and public awareness to help curb transmission.
Upline ade olmi ade mi pigi go take me. E go with me na to always seek out with me na morning na go with me na joy. We go with me they got test the sick work they say na the Mpox na in the pan. Na they tell they na so they go ambulance then go take me. When they go take me they go with me we can gripe at the motor kate we say na bad side and they go with me. But today today I tell God thank you. God don't put on, the doctor don't put on, nurse don't put on. I tell them thank you. My body don't better. Nothing not the panic. Pass no more the mark na in the panic.
So far, we've been in operation for almost 2 weeks now because it started last week Sunday, and so far we've have about 159 admission cases, and to the glory of God, we've been able to discharge 66 patients who've recovered. And also, like I said initially, we manage mild to moderate cases. For those who are severe cases, we refer them to the appropriate facilities like CONOT, which is the tertiary referral center for the country. And we've referred 6 cases. Yes. For some, there are issues relating to...
Now to stories outside the African continent. Nationalist historian Karol Nawrocki has won Poland's presidential election, narrowly defeating Warsaw's Liberal Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski. Now, official results from the National Election Commission show Nawrocki securing 50.89% of the vote, compared to 49.11% of Trzaskowski in Sunday's runoff. The result marks a significant setback for Poland's pro-European Union government and highlights the country's deep political divide. Nawrocki's victory strengthens nationalist forces that often challenge EU policies, potentially setting the stage for increased tensions between Warsaw and Brussels. The closely contested race underscores the polarization within the NATO and EU member state, with contrasting visions for Poland's future driving voters to a near-even split. The outcome could have lasting impact for both domestic and foreign policy. And to business, in May 2025, Nigeria's Naira appreciated 1.28% against the US dollar in the official market, closing at 1,585.50 Naira per dollar. In May 30, up from 1,606 Naira to $1 back at May 2nd. The currency showed volatility early in the month, but strengthening steadily after the Central Bank of Nigeria's CBN Monetary Policy Committee meeting mid-May. Meanwhile, the parallel market saw a 1.24% decline, closing at 1,630 Naira per dollar. OPEC Plus plans to increase oil production by 411,000 barrels per day in July, risking further pressure on the Naira. The CBN maintained the monetary policy rate at 27.5% cash reserve ratio at 50%, commercial banks, and liquidity ratio at 30%. And to sports, the Nigeria Olympic Committee Athletes Commission mourns the death of the Kano State athletes and officials killed in a road crash while returning from the 22nd National Sports Festival in Ogun State. The accident occurred near Dakatsale, about 50 kilometers from Kano, involving a bus carrying the state's delegation. NOAC chairman Olumide Oyedeji described the loss as devastating and called for improved transportation logistics to ensure athletes' safety. The commission urged state authorities to prioritize safe, coordinated travel for sporting contingents. Nigeria Olympic Committee President Habu Gumel also expressed sorrow over the tragedy. The incident has sparked renewed calls for nationwide reforms in athlete travel arrangements for national competitions. Still in sports, Egypt's Pyramids FC claimed that the first CAF Champions League title on Sunday, defeating South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns 2-1 in Cairo and winning 3-2 on aggregate. The goals from Fiston Mayele and Ahmed Sami gave the hosts a commanding lead before Ikram Reyners pulled one back in the 75th minute. Despite late pressure, Sundowns could not find the decisive second goal. The final marked only Pyramid's second appearance in the competition. Coach Krunoslav Juricic's side made one key lineup change, starting Ramadan Sobi. Sundowns' Miguel Cardoso, the second manager to reach back-to-back finals with different clubs, fell short despite tactical tweaks. The historic win came before a crowd of around 15,000 at the 30,000-seat Cairo Stadium. Still in sports, the international friendly between Nigeria's Super Falcons and Cameroon's Indomitable Lionesses has been rescheduled for Tuesday after two postponements. The match was initially set for Friday at the Remo Star Stadium, Ikene, as part of a double-header friendly. It was later changed to a single game on Monday at Moshood Abiola Sports Arena, Abeokuta. However, the Confederation of African Football did not approve the Monday date, forcing a further delay. Both sides now prepare to face off on Tuesday, hoping for a smooth encounter after the scheduling challenges. Well, that's all on the news at this hour. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Also, do well to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Gold TV, channel 23, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Musugu.